what does Flux allow people to do that we could never do during our Puppet days?
Oh my gosh, we can finally get reproducibility all the way through. I was trying to make things deterministic entirely from Puppet, and we always had these weird convergent problems. We're a lot better at that at Flox. So that's pretty awesome. It's deterministic.
One thing people don't know about Flux that you think they should know?
I think it's great from a developer experience, but ultimately you want to change the way the production happens. So you start with an awesome developer experience, you end up with an awesome production experience. We can work across your SDLC, and most people just think of us as dev environments because that's what we started with.
All right, we're at KubeCon. There's someone somewhere that has like a 50 gig Docker image that they keep trying to pull to like 200 clusters, and they're asking for a better way. What is that better way?
Well, the better way is to make sure that the data you have is already there in some way or another, and not ship it all around back and forth to a registry. When you use a Docker file, the first thing you do is you build something and then you ship it up just to pull it back down somewhere else. What we do instead is we ship the metadata around and you just materialize the workload wherever you need it. The other thing is because each workload is sliced in very small, fine store paths underneath the hood in Flox, only the ones that change are the things you ship. And so even if you're a layer deeper, like in Docker files, kind of wherever you change something, all the layers after it end up versus just the layer that is changing is the one you ship around. So,
all right. So last question is, we both come from two different worlds during this container period. You ended up in the Flox world. I ended up in the Docker container world. And we just did something cool this week. We announced Kubernetes ability to run Flox and Nix packages kind of by this kind of inheriting that into the Flox world.
Yep.
What does that mean to someone that's used to only running containers in Kubernetes?
Ultimately, it means that they get some more efficiencies in network transfer. They get some more efficiencies in supply chain management. Everything comes with a software bill of materials by default. Everything's reproducible. You can do all that in traditional Docker workflows. It's just difficult. You have to work really hard to make it work that way. We give it to you without thinking about it. So that's what it does. But mostly, if you're using Kubernetes and you love the Kubernetes API, no changes.
You know, the dumb thing that I saw when I first saw Flux with Kubernetes, if you read the original Borg paper where a lot of people say Kubernetes is inspired from how the orchestration system works inside of Google. The one thing I think people are missing from that paper is that the package manager in Borg was not necessarily like Docker. And the package manager inside of Borg, it's more like the way Nix packages or Flux does things. You take all the software that you need, you version it, and you keep it all on the file system locally to each machine. What that means is if you have 3 different versions of Ruby, you have 3 different paths for Ruby, all checksum. So that's going to be your content store. So it's almost like pulling a Docker registry all locally and then almost linking to the packages you need on each server. So what does that end up with? It ends up in a world where, like Borg in that Borg paper, where every machine has a verifiable signed version of all of its dependencies. And then when you start moving things around, you can imagine how much smaller the artifacts are. So even if we were still using container images, kind of like we're doing in this pseudo implementation,
Yep.
You're linking in things from the file system versus moving them around 1,000 times. So if you don't know anything about Flux or Nix, but you know a lot about Kubernetes, I encourage you to go read that Borg paper again and find the section on NPM. That was the original package management for Borg. And go look at the way Flux is implementing things and see the parallels there. And I think you might be interested in what you actually find.